This is the most evil, the most disturbing, and the darkest episode we have ever released on the Shawn Ryan Show. It has to do with predators who are preying sexually on children. Ryan Montgomery, the #1 ranked ethical hacker in the world, has dedicated his life to hacking into these websites and exposing the predators who are preying on our children to the world. And he has thousands and thousands of names now that he's releasing. This is going to save a lot of kids. And I want you to share this with everybody you know. The public needs to be informed of this. And here's how the kids are going to be saved, because everybody says, oh, share my stuff, right? Here's how they'll be saved. Every parent that watches this will smarten up on what their kid's doing on the internet. Every kid that watches this is going to smarten up and become aware of how prevalent this stuff is on the internet. And every one of you predators that's watching this, it's going to put the fear of God into you, because when you're caught, you will be humiliated and hopefully in prison. That's how this is going to save these kids. People are going to smarten up. They're going to realize this is everywhere. This is on every social media platform, every chat room, everywhere you go on the internet. These people are hanging out. And unfortunately, we have to fight censorship here, because here's one thing. These predators have a lot of powerful people throughout the world, in government, in Hollywood, all over the place, that are sticking up for this community. So we've done everything we possibly can to avoid censorship. We have demonetized it ourselves. This isn't about money. This isn't about advertising. This is about saving kids, and that's it. So we've demonetized the video ourselves. We've pulled footage. We've bleeped every bad word on this video in hopes that it does not get censored, because the masses and the people need to watch this now. This is a battle between good and evil, and I can tell you right now, good is losing unless people like you start to stand up and get loud about this subject. This isn't about politics. This isn't even about the country. This is about kids all over the world. This is happening. Please pay attention and share this with everyone you know. If you want to see the unedited stuff, it'll be on my Patreon, and it will be on Rumble in a few days. In Patreon, like I said, we demonetize this one. You alone are who's making this possible. So thank you for the support, because if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't be happening. With that being said, I want to just say, Ryan Montgomery, I'm real proud to know you, man. And it was a real honor to have you in here and get this interview and educate the world on what you're doing and how these predators are reaching our kids. And it's an honor to be your friend. Thank you. One last thing. If you did get anything out of this, please take 10 seconds out of your day and go to Spotify and go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review and tell us what you got out of this. That helps the algorithm push these episodes farther. You get more reach, and this is a subject everybody needs to hear. Thank you. Ryan Montgomery, welcome to the Shawn Ryan Show, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you. So I found a maybe a 30-second short on Instagram, and we'll get into that later, of you exposing, I believe it was a father who was exploiting his daughter in a bathtub. You had hacked in and exploited that. And so I reached out thinking, there's no way in hell this guy's going to give me the time of day because it doesn't look like you're very active on the gram. And then I got you.
Yeah.
So I'm just super excited to be here interviewing you right now. Dude, you are doing amazing things, saving who knows how many kids. You know, I mean, if you think of the impact of what you're doing, you know, and we'll get into it, you'll never know the full impact of how many kids that you've saved by kids smartening up about what they're doing online, parents smartening up about what their kids are doing online, and these pedophiles, you're going to put the fear of God in them.
Oh, for sure.
And so
that's the goal.
There's going to be less of them preying on these kids. So anyways, we'll get into all that stuff. I just wanted to say how excited I am about this.
Likewise, I'm very excited to be here, and it means the world to me, and especially that the reach that you have, the amount of parents that will be educated based on some of the stuff that we talk about here, that even if we save one kid, it's worth it.
Yes. So let me give you a little bit of an intro here. You're the #1 ranked ethical hacker in the world. You're a serial entrepreneur, cybersecurity professional, and now a child safety warrior with your company, 561 PC.
Not my 561 PC is not a company. My company is actually Pentester, which is a cybersecurity company, Pentester.com. 561 PC is an organization that I created with my friend Dustin Lampros, or Scrappy. He's a professional MMA fighter.
We'll get into that soon. Mm-hmm. And your goal, protecting children and trying to make South Florida and the world a better place by catching one child predator at a time. That's a damn good goal. You go by 0 Day on Instagram. You're like a modern day vigilante. Just some stuff about your hacking life. 0 Day, code for a discovered security vulnerability with 0 days to fix the flaw. That's the meaning of it. 19 plus years hacking. You're self-taught, no college, no formal education. You claim to have imposter syndrome. You mentor and teach others on how to learn this trade. You've made money from working with Amazon, PayPal, and Facebook. And you say that hacking is the best decision you've ever made in your life. Sometimes you hack up to 10 hours a day.
Yeah, or more. But, working with some of those big companies there would be through bug bounty programs. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not.
That was prior to us starting Pentester.com, which is a cybersecurity platform for small, medium-sized businesses at the moment, to make sure that they're safe online, to check for data leaks, to check, where your face, where your identity is being broadcasted all over the internet, which goes, hand in hand with what we're doing with predators. And sorry, I got mixed up there.
It's all good. While you're thinking, every guest that comes on the show gets a gift.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Oh, wow.
There you go. Go ahead, open it up.
Got Vigilance Elite Gummy Bears.
That's right. Made in the USA, legal in all 50 states.
Gummy bear.
Right now.
And, wow, how did you find out about this?
We researched you.
Wow.
So I know you love Ritz cheese crackers. You eat, chicken tenders every day at noon at Burger King, and Campbell's soup every night before you go to bed.
I quit the Burger King. I now I'm on to Chick-fil-A at 12:30. I do eat Ritz Bits cheese crackers every single day. Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Actually, I walked 2 miles last night to Walmart. I could have Ubered, but I walked 2 miles last night to Walmart to get one single can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup, and didn't realize there was a microwave in the hotel room. So I even contemplated putting the metal can on the iron to heat it up, so that I could eat it last night.
You walked 2 miles for a can of Campbell's soup to heat it up on an iron.
For a 99-cent can of Campbell's soup. Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, if you come here again, I'll have that wait in your hotel room for you.
No, it's all right.
But so moving on in the interview, you have a interesting childhood. It sounds like overcoming addiction. I want to get into your childhood, how you got into hacking, some of the stuff we can do to protect ourselves from hackers, what hackers are capable of, and then the second half of the interview, I want to get into all the stuff you're doing, catching these predators. I think that's very interesting. This is going to be one of the most informative interviews I've ever done. But keeping it light right off the bat, how did you get involved with Facebook and Amazon, and who is PayPal?
Okay, so that was actually what I was thinking about prior to you giving me the awesome gifts, what a bug bounty program is. So I don't personally own a bug bounty program, but I work with a team. I have a team of hackers that we all work together on projects. And to do that legally, there's things called bug bounties. So companies like Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, all the huge companies out there, they offer a monetary value for a bug or a vulnerability that's found in their site. So what I mean by help protect these large organizations, it is through their bug bounty program. They may not be a direct client of the company, or some of them may be, but can't really talk about that publicly. But yes, I've helped protect all of the above.
So basically, this is like some type of a red cell program where you try to penetrate these big tech companies, and then they basically give you a reward if you reveal how you did it.
Right. So you have to you have to reveal how you did it. So let's say it's a informational bug. An informational bug could be you forgot that a page exists and it shows some of your employees' information. So that may be informational if it doesn't impact anything further than that. Whereas something very critical, like I could get access to your server or all the credit cards or all your clients attached to your company, that would be a critical vulnerability. And these companies are willing to pay depending on the severity of that vulnerability. So Apple, for example, if you were able to take over an iPhone, they'll pay you $1 million for something like that.
They'll pay you $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million for it. They call it a zero-click exploit, meaning I can send you something that you won't even know happened, and I have full access to your phone. $1 million bug bounty.
Have you done that before?
No, I haven't. I haven't personally found any bugs in the new iPhones. But if I did, I'd be sure to report it to Apple.
So if you don't mind me asking, what's the biggest bounty you've collected, and what was it for?
I can't tell you what it was for, but I could tell you how, because there's disclosures and there's non-disclosures. So I can't disclose the company or what the vulnerability was, but it was for it was $128,000 in credit on a platform. I chose that over the cash.
Really? Mm-hmm. So these are good sized bounties.
Yeah.
How many bounties have you collected?
I don't know. Quite a bit.
100, 200?
But if you combine my team, hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah, but that isn't what I focus on anymore. I focus on the cybersecurity business, which is all software, and that's a lot more guaranteed. Whereas bug bounty, there's nothing against people that do bug bounties, but it's not guaranteed revenue or income. It's you have to just keep taking shots at companies trying to find something and hope that you get paid, where there's no stability in that.
Gotcha.
There's bug bounty hunters that make $1 million, $2 million a year, but then the next year maybe they make 10 grand or less, or they spend 6 months on one project and they make $0. It's just not sustainable for me.
Gotcha.
So I started a company with my business partners, Rick, Shawn, and Dan. And like I said, it's called Pentester.com. It's very simple. You just go to the site, you put in the name of your website, you press scan, and it does a preliminary scan. Tells you what, basically, if you have any like low-hanging fruit vulnerabilities and leaks, like passwords associated with your emails or your employees, and you can sign up for an account and do a more invasive scan that will give you a lot more information.
Interesting. Well, let's let's dive into your childhood.
Sure.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up right outside of West Philadelphia in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And I lived there most of my life.
What were you into as a kid?
For the most part, I was a normal kid. But after 8th grade or so, or starting 8th grade, I started to meet the wrong people. And I was in the wrong places, doing the wrong things. And I met some people that were on drugs that were a little older than me. And I started to adapt, and I started to go to these. At that time, there was a rave scene in Philadelphia, and I really liked that. I loved going to the raves and doing drugs, and acting like a nut, And I was just a young kid that nobody knew and I never told anybody my age back then. To be honest with you, I was lying to people about my age back then, and those raves turned into doing ecstasy and other types of drugs at the raves. And I found out over time that I didn't really like the raves as much as I liked the drugs. And then I figured out that when I took something to come down from the ecstasy, that I actually liked what I was coming down from the ecstasy with more than I liked the ecstasy.
Really?
And, which was opiates. And that turned into a bigger problem.
Yeah, that can turn into a massive problem. Did you think you were a full-on addict?
At the time, yeah, I was in full belief that I was a drug addict. I was physically withdrawing from opiates at one point in my life. So yeah, I had every reason to believe that I was. And I don't know how far you want to go into it at this point, but there was a time where I realized that I went through a bad phase as a child, but I do know that addiction exists. I have a lot of it in my family, especially my dad's side, and I did some things to combat that, because of those reasons. But me personally, I haven't used drugs or alcohol in a very long time, since I was a child, pretty much, and no drugs. But I wouldn't say that I'm in recovery either. I kind of moved away from that.
What was the family life like? Good family life? You close with your parents?
So I'm very close with my mom. My grandfather passed away a few years ago, and he was like a father to me. He raised me, the best father I could have asked for. I wouldn't know what a father's like without him. And he passed a few years ago, and it was very rough, but I was blessed to be there. I was with him when he passed, and he had a great life, and was a great man. My mom is absolutely fantastic, has been supportive with me even at my absolute worst, and I put her through hell. And as for my dad, he's been in and out of my life. During this interview, while we speak right now, he is currently in jail for something stupid this time. It was, drinking. I think he had an open container of alcohol, and he stole some stuff from Kohl's. But my dad and I have some stepbrothers and sisters that I love, and he, when he's messed up on drugs and alcohol, he's not the best dad. So yeah. we go on and off talking to each other.
So from what I understand, you're a high school dropout.
I am, yeah.
What grade did you drop out?
Going into 10th grade.
Going into 10th grade,
yes.
So you have up to a 9th grade education.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
And you are the #1 ethical hacker in the world. How did you get into hacking?
It kind of just happened because I was very young, and it didn't just happen. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened in between it. But when I was very young, my grandparents had a computer at the house, and I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day, AOL used to send floppy disks in the mail, and they give you a trial. And I remember the shape of the floppy disk, and I remember seeing the front of this desktop that my grandpa, I think he brought it home from work or something back then. And I remember seeing the shape of the floppy disk, and there was a little icon of it on the desktop computer. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I put this floppy disk in the computer. And I saw the AOL logo from the mail show up on the computer screen. and it blew my mind as a kid. It blew my mind. I was like, how did that just happen? You know,
How old are you?
I'm 29.
No, I mean, how old are you at this time?
I had to have been like 8, 9 years old at that time, maybe.
Okay.
And that blew my mind, and I wanted to know how it worked. You know, from that point on, I just had this obsession with how do computers work? Why did that just come from a piece of cardboard and show up on the screen? And you know, I just kept learning about computers and learning, you know, fixing computers and meeting people, you know, that on the internet through AOL Instant Messenger and other apps. And then I found it actually started with a marketing community at first. People that were doing digital marketing back in the AOL days, so just spamming out massive amount of emails, like millions and millions of emails. But then in that community, there were some hackers, you know, people that were writing automation tools and finding exploits and finding ways to convert on ads better and this and that. And I ran across this one guy who ended up going to prison later for hacking, I believe it was AT&T and a few other major cellular carriers. He stole some prepaid minutes, and back then prepaid minutes were a big deal. So he stole millions of dollars worth of prepaid minutes with his partner in crime, Edwin. Edwin was his partner, and the guy that I'm talking about is Robert Moore, and his hacker name went by Moore R. And he ended up stealing these credits. And Edwin would go to these places all over, the malls and the small cell phone stores, and he would resell these credits for a cheaper price than the carriers would sell them for. So they sold, like I said, a ton of those. And Edwin decided to leave the country. He left the country. He was doing all this fancy stuff, private jets, yachts, hotels, girls, cars, doing it all. While Rob was sitting at home, you know, hacking for this guy. This guy wasn't doing anything but selling the minutes. And then Rob, you know, gets a knock on the door. It's the FBI. And they come in, they seize everything he has. Rob ends up out of all of this, out of millions of dollars worth of sold minutes, Rob ends up with like 20 grand in profit and 2 years in federal prison. And they confiscated all of his stuff, everything that he had. And he gets out of prison. And Edwin's on the run. They finally get Edwin. I believe Edwin got like 10 years or something, which he deserves it, honestly, because he took advantage of Rob in a weak point in Rob's life. He took advantage, and Rob is not meant for federal prison. He ended up there. But yeah, Rob is the person that like I was saying with the instant messenger chats, Rob's the person that motivated me to learn about hacking and spent the time with me and showed me some things that, because there weren't learning sites like TryHackMe or you know, GitHub.com or Stack Overflow or Google. None of that existed back then. So you couldn't look up you know, certain methodologies or hacking or how to do reconnaissance. It didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So Rob gave me some pointers. It's not a cookie cutter thing. Hacking is very broad.
So let's backtrack real quick. How old? So I believe you said you started hacking at 10 years old.
11. Yeah.
11
turning
years
11.
old.
Yeah, about 11.
So
I would say 11.
At what point are you conversing with Moore?
Probably when I was 11. He might not have known I was 11, but
how did you find him?
Group chats, you know, back in the AIM days.
How does that conversation go? Hey, I'm looking for some hackers to teach me a couple things.
No, I was marketing and interested, you know. I was just active in the communities, and I knew what Rob was capable of. He could do some really cool stuff with a computer, and it was really just asking questions, you know. And Rob and I got along so well, and you know, I actually flew out to see him later in life to Washington State. I stayed with him for a week, but you know, we kicked it off for some reason. I don't know what that reason was. I can't remember that far back, but Rob was the person that helped me at least get started in what I do today. What
were you wanting to hack in at 11?
I think I was more interested in just shutting people's internet connections off, like simple stuff, you know, nothing crazy, and making money, marketing, you know. It's, you know, a lot of 11-year-olds would probably not think about selling things on the internet, but I wasn't making a ton of money as a kid. I didn't have rich parents or anything like that, and I wanted to make money ASAP. And I knew that digital marketing at like the groups that I was in, I was seeing all these people making fortunes selling, one example, we were selling acai weight loss berries, and it was a huge thing back in the day. And there was some affiliate marketers making 30 grand a day doing AOL spams, making millions of emails per day, making 30 grand a day on average. It would blow my mind. And I don't remember every specific about names and what programs they were on, like affiliate programs they were on back then, but I knew I wanted to be involved in that. And I thought that automating it and finding exploits in I guess websites or people's computers would enhance my profits, and it did. It definitely. But then all the money that I made there, all the money I made, it all went to drugs and doing dumb stuff. But I wouldn't take it back because I learned a lot. I grew up quick, and there's some benefits there and some things that aren't so good there. But
well, let's stick with childhood hacking. So, at what point in your childhood did you start making money doing this?
Probably 11, 12 years old. I was right into it.
I mean, how much money are we talking?
A couple grand here and there, which is a lot for a kid. Yeah.
That's a lot for a 12-year-old.
It felt like $1 billion to me.
And so, were you always an ethical hacker?
No.
What are some of the things that you've done that you've hacked into? What's one of the... Give us some examples.
So, I guess it depends on what you want to know. Like people or organizations or both.
Let's go into all of it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I'm limited by what I could say here. I know there's a statute of limitations. I'm sure it'd be fine, but there's some things that I regret that I would take back. But there is one thing out there that's public. There's a rap song that mentions me about, are you familiar with crypto mining?
Yes.
Okay, so I hacked a ton of computers. I had a method. I won't explain the method because it still could work today, where I could infect computers with malware. And a lot of people that infect computers with malware, which is just people, if you don't know what malware is, it comes in various forms, but the type that I'm talking about is called a remote access Trojan. And that's like the equivalent of me standing in front of your computer with full access to it, and I can look through your webcam, I can control your keyboard, your mouse, look at your screen, do anything I want without you knowing that I'm there. And I infected a ton of computers, and instead of having the remote access Trojan functionality where I could do, I could take control of these computers, I decided to do crypto mining. So at that time it was just Bitcoin and Litecoin, and I had quite a bit of infected computers mining at all times. The thing that I did that was, if you could say nice, was that when the computer was idle, it would use 100% of the processor and the graphics card to mine the coins. And when the computer was in use, it would only use 20%. So they wouldn't, have a horrible experience with their computer just being bogged down the entire time. But that was, I guess, when Bitcoin started around that time.
So you had hacked into how many computers? 100?
Thousands.
Thousands
tens
of
of
computers?
thousands. Yeah, probably tens of thousands.
And so all of these tens of thousands of computers are mining cryptocurrency and going into your account?
They were going into a pool. So pooled mining is a lot of people mining together, and then all of the whoever's putting in the most, I guess the reward is split based upon the contribution. So if you're contributing twice as much as me, you'll get twice as much of a profit. So it was all being sent to a specific pool offshores.
Why did that stop?
I have morals, and there was a situation that came up where obviously the bots, if let's say I had to change a pool or something went wrong, they had to be updated across the board. Every single bot would have to be updated to be pointed at a different address. I still had access to be able to do that, and I was in a community at that time with some bad people who wanted to kind of buy access to my bots. And I wasn't okay with that. And it kind of lined up perfectly with another business opportunity that I had in life where I kind of just said, you know what, screw this, I'm done. I'm not taking the risk. You know, if I get in trouble with what they call a botnet, if I get in trouble with this botnet, I'm doing a long time in prison. And it's not worth it to me. I can't get in trouble. And I stopped. I stopped on my own will. I didn't get caught. There was people that knew about it, you know, hackers, they may not have known it was me. Now they know it's me, but at the time they didn't know that it was me. But no, I didn't get caught, and I'm past the statute of limitations. I didn't hurt anybody. Maybe your power bill went up a couple cents, but that's about it. Yeah, that was the extent of that specific hack.
Was that the one that was that the hack that changed you, that turned you into ethical, or was there?
I would say yeah. I would say yeah, because around that time I switched to doing cybersecurity and starting the other businesses that we're going to talk about. I would say yeah. I never really thought of it till now, but I would say that's when I became an ethical hacker rather than a gray hat or a black hat hacker.
What is a gray hat hacker?
Gray hat is in between. So somebody that, like, for example, if I went to your website, I hacked your website and I sent you an email and said, hey, I found a vulnerability in your site. You could call, the FBI and say, hey, this guy just hacked my site and I didn't give him permission. Or you could say, thank you. That's a gray hat hacker.
And a black hat?
Black hat just, takes over your website, tells you, hey, you better pay me or I'm releasing all your information or deleting your site. And here's all the information about you and your wife and your family and everything, blah, 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 blah. Black hat hackers are, they're kind of ruthless.
So you're in the cryptocurrency business. Being a hacker, or you were, is this the way of the future? Are we going to, what do you think? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah. I mean, cybersecurity and keeping yourself protected on the internet is the future. If you're not paying attention to that now, and you're not seeing your browser that's warning you, the TV that's warning you, the constant news, the constant ransomware notices. I mean, if you haven't heard about the active breaches right now on all of these major websites and you're not doing anything about it, you really should start, because it is the future and it's only going to get more intense, and it's only going to get more dangerous. And everything that you have, is attached to the internet. Everything. I mean, unless you live out in the middle of nowhere with no internet connection, and even the power in your house is controlled by a remote switch. What if I turned off your power for a week and you live out in the middle of nowhere? You really have to take your security seriously. That's just a random thought, but it's a possibility.
I'm glad you brought that up, but I actually meant cryptocurrency. What's your opinion on cryptocurrency? Is it here to stay? It's very volatile.
Very volatile. I think that Bitcoin's here to stay.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you all in on Bitcoin?
Can't confirm or deny.
Would you like to see Bitcoin?
I would love to see Bitcoin hit the moon. I mean, it's doing well at this moment. It's around 30 grand. But I would love to see what it was projected to be at in the 100,000s, possibly $1 million a coin.
You think that's possible?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started, it was only, maybe a couple dollars at the most per coin.
Damn. Well, what brought you to South Florida?
I started a marketing company to help people get into drug and alcohol rehab. And for anyone that's familiar with that topic, they're going to think, okay, well, he had a marketing company. He was doing a thing called patient brokering, which is a felony. And I was not doing that. I didn't even know what that was at the time. I just knew I could generate leads from the internet. And I started this company called The Treatment Source, which was just a website. They filled out a survey, and the survey would bring them to a 1-800 number if they had mental health or substance abuse. They changed the term, substance use issues. And I would then send those patients or clients to a drug and alcohol rehab in South Florida. And I was generating a ton of clients and doing really well with the internet marketing campaigns. And one day I get a call from a guy who says he was like, hey, you won't come to Fort Lauderdale Airport right now. And this is right when I'm waking up. And I was like, yeah, I will. I was just, he thought I was joking. I called him a couple hours later. I booked my flight, and I was like, hey, I'm at the Fort Lauderdale airport. He didn't believe me. And he picks me up at the airport, and he was blown away that I even showed up there. But, I had just like a week's worth of stuff packed with me. And when I got back to his house, we were talking about, like the rehab business and, the marketing and all the intricacies of the industry. And we became good friends at that point. And I was thinking, well, why don't I start a rehab? Like maybe I could do this myself. If I can generate the business for a rehab, maybe we could do it together. So he was like, yeah, well, I own one now, obviously, because he was one of my customers at that time. And he decided to sell his shares in his rehab and use that to to invest into one with me. And we started a treatment center together. And I decided to move to Florida. So I went back to PA. I put my car on the back of a U-Haul, filled it up with all my stuff, drove down to Florida from Pennsylvania, and never looked back, and started a drug and alcohol and mental health facility.
How old are you at this point?
22.
You started a rehab at age 22?
Yeah, I think I was the youngest owners in the treatment world at that time, yeah.
Wow. So what was your motivation for this? Because you are, from our research, you are all about helping humans.
Yeah. So my motivation was, like I said earlier, that my family, my dad's side specifically had some serious drug issues. Still dealing with them. I went through some serious drug issues. A lot of friends of mine have gone through drug issues or still going through drug issues. And I just, maybe I got this from my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, but I just love to help people. I don't know what it is. It makes me happy. And I guess, what would that be? Hospitality. Hospitality has always just been something that makes me happy.
Well, you had some pretty tragic experiences as well, if I remember correctly. Do you want to go into any of those?
Well, there's a lot of them. So are you talking more of the addiction side of things? Or
yeah, you had a couple friends die.
Mm-hmm. So I've had a lot of friends die due to heroin overdose or carfentanil, fentanyl, butyl-fentanyl, acetyl-fentanyl, and all of the different fentanyls that are getting over here and being, put in heroin. And I understand that they chose to use drugs regardless of what was in it, but they definitely weren't planning on dying. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, I lost my uncle Richie to an overdose. I lost my best friend Ricky Rivas to an overdose, and I was, I'll tell you that story because this is how something else happened. But I got a call from Ricky's parents a couple years back, and they were like, I haven't heard from Ricky since this morning, and do you mind going over there and checking on him? And he was about a 15-minute drive from me, and he wasn't answering my phone calls. And at this time, he wasn't on drugs. He wasn't messing up or anything. He worked for me at the rehab, and we spent every day together. So I go to his condo. I walk in the door, and I look to my left, and I see him in the bathroom, and he had his face up against the vanity, and he was wearing his shorts, and I saw that he had a needle and a spoon, and just it didn't look good. So I ran over and I tried to wake him up, and he wasn't waking up. So I called 911. And I'm running down through the elevator to go to get. I didn't think anything was wrong with him, so I didn't bring Narcan upstairs or anything. Like Narcan's what saves opiate addicts from overdosing. So I ran to my car, I grabbed that. 911's telling me what to do. I get back to the room, and they told me to take him off the toilet and put him on the floor, and his body was still in the position that it was in when I saw him sitting there, and his face was sideways from being on the vanity, and I'm still in denial at this point. I gave him the Narcan in his leg. I was, giving him CPR like they said to do, and I just, I remember when the cops showed up and the ambulance showed up, they didn't talk to his parents. I did. I told his parents that their son was gone, and which I thought was a little bit ridiculous. I thought that the detective should be the one handling that, especially with how I was, I was crying my eyes out, like he lost my best friend,
The...
Sorry.
I lost my best friend to addiction too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, my best friend, he was a SEAL. I worked with him at the agency. He experienced a lot of trauma, became addicted to opiates for injuries, and that just became a, straight addiction. They cut the pills. He went to heroin, and I spent a lot of time trying to get him better. Moved in with me, got him back on his feet, got his family involved, got him into therapy. I mean, I love this motherfucker. We'd been through a lot of shit together. And he was a phenomenal hockey player. And, I used to live in Boca Raton too. And so he lived right by me. And he kept telling me he wanted to start this hockey nonprofit for wounded warriors, and that he was going to get the Panthers to sponsor it. Now, he's one of the smartest human beings I've ever met in my life, even when he was high. But as it got worse and worse, you didn't even, just his appearance, you didn't even want to be around him. He just looked sick. And I was, in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, okay, you're going to get the Panthers on board. Well, I'll be damned. The son of a bitch got the fucking Panthers on board. And I think it was the first NHL team to sponsor a wounded warrior. You had to be a disabled veteran to play on the hockey team.
Okay.
He had somebody helping him. The Panthers called the guy that was helping him to tell him, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to sponsor the team. You got the NHL sponsor. We're going to sponsor the team. That guy went over to tell him, hey, dude, you did it.
Yeah.
And nobody answered the door. And trying to keep my shit together here.
Yeah.
But
I understand.
yeah, he didn't answer the door. Got on a stool to see, the top part, and there he was, laying on the floor, and
Sorry to hear that, man.
yeah.
I know what it feels like.
I just want you to know I can relate, and I've lost a lot of friends to addiction.
Likewise,
And,
that was the first one, obviously, that happened to me, and I found them, and I can't explain that, and I can't bring them back. But what you can do is educate people and try to help more people so that it doesn't happen to them. And you can't fix everybody. You can't get it through everybody's head that they need to stop, and it's dangerous, and it's not just heroin and opiates like it used to be. It's it's coke, it's meth, it's painkillers that are pressed, it's Xanax, they all are being cut with fentanyl. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's fact. I mean, the number one leading cause of death, 18 to 49 right now, is fentanyl. That's more than car accidents, more than anything else. 18 to 49 years old, fentanyl. So any drug that you're doing, you have to be careful that, not be careful. You have to just try to get away from it or get a testing kit. If you refuse to stop doing drugs, get testing kits, because fentanyl will kill you.
Yeah.
And it's pretty rough. But with the rehab program, around that time, not long before I lost Ricky, I lost another friend, Drew, and my business partner at that time. Him and I, we both, were friends with Drew, and I was closer with Ricky, and we decided to start a scholarship program, and it was called, we named it the Drew Badgley Scholarship Program, which was to help people get into drug rehab that didn't have the financial means to pay. And the reason, that's important is because when I was a kid, I didn't have private health insurance or money. So there was no way I was going to a nice facility like one I had, or other ones in Florida or other states that are private. The government facilities, they take Medicare, Medicaid, but some of them have 2-3 month waiting lists. Addicts can't wait 2-3 months. They die, and as you know, it could take one bad dose, they're dead.
Yeah.
So having a private facility and somebody that really wants to get clean, it's if they don't have the right insurance or the right money, you have to turn them down. And it just bothered me so much that you can't help somebody, that I was in their shoes. I wanted help, or people in my family wanted help and couldn't get it. And I started that scholarship program with my old business partner, and we brought a ton of people in, probably over 100 in the 7 or so years that I was there. It may be even more than that, but at least 100. And full scholarship. No, they didn't spend $1. And a lot of them did well. Some of them relapsed. You can't fix everybody. But, we turned that, after time went on, we adapted to how, the scholarship program. We built programs around that. We built programs around trauma. We built programs around, specifically mental health, specifically co-occurring mental health and substance use disorder, all kinds of different things. And then we branched out till we opened a detox, which was another facility, because at that point we had partial hospitalization, intensive outpatient, and outpatient, but we didn't have detox. So we were sending them to other facilities, and then we would take them. So then we had 2 facilities. And then we realized, okay, well, a lot of our people we were getting are coming from New Jersey or Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, Massachusetts, up in that area. So we decided to start another facility in New Jersey. And we started, it was called the Shore Detox, but it got changed again. The name of it got changed. And I sold my shares in the rehab about 3 years ago, right around the time that I started to, catch the predators. And I got into the software as a service world and buying software companies and operating them and selling them. So
You are an amazing human being, man.
thanks.
To do something that has that amount of impact at that young age. I mean, that's just to do it in general is amazing. And you did it at what'd you say, 22?
22, yeah.
That's incredible. You realize that?
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm still on it. I'm still on the mission. It's not over,
Good for you, man.
It's there's so much more to come. And one spot that I forgot there was the electronic medical record system that we use, like the same thing you would see at your doctor when they put in notes about you being, at your visit. We used one called, I won't say the name, but we used one, and I got involved with those guys afterwards. And after I sold my shares, I went right to their office and I set up one of those plastic tables, put my computer in there, even though I wasn't involved at that time in that business. I wanted to work out of their office because I liked the software world. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to do digital marketing or I was going to do cybersecurity or both. But being around them every day, I was like, yeah, I got to do it with them. So I got involved with their businesses, and then we decided together we're going to do a ton of software companies. And that's where we're at now, like I said, with Pentester.com and many more. But that's the one that makes the most sense to talk about here today.
Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into that.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, we're back from the break. We're getting ready to dive into your company, Pentester. So what is Pentester?
Pentester is a software solution for cybersecurity and protection. So there's a pen test, a manual pen test, where somebody would go into your company or a group of people where they would check down a list of boxes of things for your compliance, look for vulnerabilities based upon your platform, and give you a report of findings, vulnerabilities. Pentester.com, it can get confusing because pen testing and Pentester.com are like, pen testing is a term, Pentester.com is the name of my company.
Okay.
What we do is we try to automate as much of what a pen tester would do digitally. So Pentester.com is an automated web scanning framework. As of right now, we're building it out to be more of a more than just a web scanner. And sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
No, it's fine. So let me just ask this then. So
it's hard to explain, so I'm trying to make everybody understand.
I get it, because I'm a dummy with this stuff.
Not
so.
you, not.
So let me ask you a question then. So if I go to Pentester.com and I type in ShawnRyanShow.com,
Yeah.
what kind of vulnerabilities might I have? Here's my website. I sell gummy bears on it, and we post upcoming episodes. Your episode's going to be on there. We collect email addresses for a database to we send out a free newsletter all the time.
Right.
And then we got like some, if you want to apply for a job here, every once in a while we'll post that. They can run their resumes. We just did a thing where we're looking for a new video editor for shorts, and they're sending in a bunch of, we're having a competition for it. But for a website like, and we have advertising inquiries. For a website like that, it's run off Shopify. What kind of vulnerabilities would I be looking at?
So there's many things. The first thing that came to mind was email breaches. So if you have like contact@ShawnRyan.com, is that your website, ShawnRyan.com?
ShawnRyanShow.com.
ShawnRyanShow.com. So contact@ShawnRyanShow.com, or Shawn Ryan at the website, or anyone that works here. I can look up that domain with Pentester and see if it's been involved in any breaches, or if it's been involved in any botnet traffic where it's scraped all of the cookies and passwords from people's browsers.
Okay, hold on. What is botnet? What? Tracking?
Traffic.
Botnet traffic.
Right. So let's say you were infected with some type of malware, and that person grabs from your Chrome or your Safari all of the saved passwords and all of the sessions. Like a website, to be signed into a website, you have to have a session. So if I took that session and replaced mine with yours, now I'm you without a password. So some of that stuff gets released on the dark web, or it's Tor. I like to call it Tor, Tor, the onion router. That's what the dark web is. But it gets released there, and sometimes on the publicly facing web. And a lot of people aren't aware of what information is actually out there. So when you put your website into Pentester, you get a preliminary report that shows all of that data that has been exposed related to your domain name. Well, it goes a little further than that, because let's say it doesn't find anything. Maybe you're a brand new website, and Shopify is doing a good job with all of the plugins you're using. Because remember, each one of those plugins is by an individual creator that could have messed up at any point in their code. So you're only as strong as your strongest plugin. So that's one thing there. Shopify has their own security, and then you have your own security based on your plugins. As for the emails, let's say I get nothing with the ShawnRyanShow.com. Now I'm going to start looking into the Gmail accounts into Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, Yahoo, whatever, of all of your employees, your family, and then I'm going to see breaches associated with them, which I guarantee you that there is. Like I am so sure that if I pulled my laptop out and I put in one of your personal emails, that I will have at least one of your passwords. And that password could be reused for Shopify, or maybe it's used to access that list of data with your customers that you were saying you have the client list, the newsletters, the applicants for the jobs. Maybe it's the same password you use for that. And now I have access to that data that I could either ransom you with, I could escalate my permissions on Shopify with, and take over your entire site. Maybe it's the credentials to your social media platform, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're on. Those credentials could be reused. So it is important, like as you said, using a password manager, because all it takes is someone like me, or with a bad moral compass, to take advantage of everything that you have.
Could you demonstrate that right now?
Yeah.
Just type it in my email.
Yeah, for sure. I'll try the Shawn Ryan Show first. .com, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have there is some sensitive information, but nothing that would be a big deal. I can show it to you actually if you want. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, let's see it.
So this isn't specifically passwords there. but it is what came from, leaks on the internet. This isn't, it isn't anything other than leaked data. So nothing there is sensitive to my eyes.
So we're doing a good job.
For the Shawn Ryan Show. But if you throw in one of your Gmails there or something, any other email that you may be using for a long period of time.
Just type it in here.
Yep. Take a second to load. It loads over 140 billion records. Nothing on that website. There's 2 E's supposed to be there?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
No shit.
I don't see.
All right, my IT guy's gonna live to see another paycheck.
Well, it's not your IT guy though. Even that one just doesn't seem to be registered with a bunch of accounts. Like, for example, if you were in 2019 LinkedIn breach or Dropbox, if you use any of that, like Vigilance
Elite.
I keep saying Vigilante. I'm sorry. Vigilance Elite. I do have password.
That's.
And I do have the address.
Whose address?
I have an apartment in.
Interesting.
I have an IP address for. I have an address in where we're at right now with the zip code ending in 64 and a phone number ending in.
All that shit's on there?
Yeah. And I have a lot more than that if you want to take a look yourself.
Oh, yeah. Let me take a look.
Yeah. I'm halfway through it, but you can scroll up and down.
How do we clean this up?
You can't. You just got to change. You got to change the information if you don't want it there. There is no way to get rid of it.
Okay, so what? Oh my gosh.
So that's why small and medium-sized businesses that don't realize that they're a target, they're more of a target than they think. They get attacked because they either have exposed credentials out there or they're using old technology, and they just get grouped in with a ton of other people that are, similar targets. A lot of them don't realize they need to take their cybersecurity more seriously. Pentester, this is kind of like a shameless plug, but for $50 a month, it's worth the money. We are the cheapest, to my knowledge, in the cybersecurity world, and we're not only giving you a software solution, but we're giving you a hands-on, manual confirmation for anything that we're not sure of. So for $50, if someone would have offered that to me prior to being a hacker myself, I was a little kid, but let's just say I wasn't ever, I'd be more than happy to pay $50 a month for something like this. This is just one of many things we offer.
Okay.
So
is my website safe for customers?
That's up to you to decide. I haven't ran a scan. This is just a breach check.
Oh, that's just a breach check?
Yeah. Yeah, and we have more records than literally anyone else on the internet. So we're going to be able to tell you more than most most people. Some people are going to have access to these private databases that we have, as well as the public ones. But if you download certain other competition websites that say, sign up for other competition websites that say that they offer breach protection or the leak protection, breach or leak protection is what they'll say. They don't have a database as big as ours. I'm sure of it. I'm very confident in that. And this is without running, like I said, this is without running a scan. So, I'll keep the computer ready for when you want to see a face, but I'll show you how wild that can get.
Let's do that.
Oh, you want to see it?
Yeah, let's do it. So, describe what you're going to do.
So I could do my face, your face, anyone's face that you want to do. Does it? You just tell me whose face.
Yeah, we can do my face.
Okay. It's going to be a lot of pictures of you, obviously, because of your podcast, but.
So basically what you're doing is you're taking a photo of me. It's going to do the facial recognition and find every image on the internet that has my face in it.
Yeah.
Whether I'm tagged in it or not.
Yes.
It's strict. You could find my face in the middle of the Super Bowl stadium.
As long as it's on the internet. So yeah, let me take a picture and send it to myself. Okay. So I took a picture of your face, and you can see it's just a picture that this has never been on the internet, right?
That is a really good looking man right there.
Amazing. So I uploaded that to here.
So you took a picture.
Yep.
And
Now you can go through these and see if there's anything that's not. I don't know if there's going to be anything that you don't want on there or not. But if you click them, it will give you a link to where that picture's hosted at. But remember, I used a picture that was never on the internet to find those photos of you. So it measured your face. It measured 120 points on your face, associated a picture that's never touched the internet with you. And for somebody that doesn't have as big of a following or as many photos out there, there may be less results, but you could be in a photo that you're not aware of, or there could be some stuff out there that you would want to be aware of.
Oh, wow. This is like everything.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Cool stuff.
That's insane.
Like most people, you'd be crazy not to pay $50 for that as a business. It's just that getting that messaging in somebody's hands, in somebody's brain. When they look at the website or they see an ad for, hey, are you taking your cybersecurity seriously? And then they run their website through a light scan. They see, here's some breach credentials. Here's some pictures that we found on your site. Here's some vulnerabilities. And you have an option to sign up for free, which you get your preliminary report for free. And then you have your option for $50 for a small business. And you just say, you know what, screw it. I don't need that. I can't comprehend why you wouldn't want that. So, yeah.
Damn. Let's talk about the dark web. So I hear a lot about the dark web. Well,
Yeah,
you
it's a
can buy
buzzword.
drugs on it. You can find child pornography on it. It sounds like it's just the black market, the new black market, correct?
Yeah.
So I've heard about it. I know about it. I know it's all stuff you shouldn't be doing. How do you get on it? Where is it?
Okay, so the dark web itself isn't a marketplace like what you're thinking. All right, so the black market or whatever you want to call it, once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. And they're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you could download at the TOR's website. And then you could go to a thing called like the hidden wiki, and the hidden wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with the link to them. And there's marketplaces, there's horrible things on there, like you said, for kids. And even like murder for hire, there's counterfeit money, there's fake IDs, there are all kinds of different websites that do horrible things.
What is the onion router?
So the onion router is a tool, an open source project that was created to anonymize your traffic on the internet. And it decentralizes, I believe decentralized would be the word for it, your internet traffic. It keeps you anonymous beyond a VPN. I would still recommend that you use a virtual private network on top of Tor if you want to be anonymous, but it's just a layer of security that's free, and it keeps it's like, for example, let's say you use Comcast for your internet service provider. They could see that you're using Tor, but they can't see what you're looking at. If you use a VPN and then you use Tor, they can only tell you're using a VPN, but they can't tell you're using Tor. So it's just an internet within an internet.
So can I check my email through the dark web?
Yes, you can go to any website.
Would you recommend using the dark web to just do regular
It's slow as hell.
internet stuff?
It's very slow, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could, and it would keep you safer, but it's not a foolproof way to keep yourself safe, and it's painstakingly slow.
Okay. Do you use the dark web?
For investigations, yeah.
What kind of investigations?
For like the predator and pedophile cases, yeah.
So are you able to track these guys down from the dark web, even though they're technically anonymous?
A lot of times it doesn't need to go that far. A lot of times these guys will use their regular emails, or they'll use an IP address that's been, they'll reuse for multiple emails, or their face that they're using as their profile picture. I can, find them from the same way I just found your face, or they're using a phone number that traces right back to them. The dark web, it's not really a huge part of catching predators and pedophiles. One thing, I guess the only thing on the dark web, quote unquote, I hate that word, but the dark web, quote unquote, that I had access to was when I originally hacked the website that we're going to talk about. They branched out to have not only a website on the clear net, on the regular internet, but their website was mirrored on the dark web. And I had 3 backdoors in their system, and it branched out over to the dark web. So I had a backdoor on the dark web too, which was kind of a cool thing to have. So I needed to be connected to Tor, the onion router, to connect to my backdoor. But that was, I was only using that backdoor to exfiltrate data every single day, which was just user information, because I didn't want to get their posts or anything. I didn't want to be in possession of anything horrible that they were sending each other. But their user info was enough for us, as I'm sure you'll learn shortly.
Yeah. What are some things that people can do to protect themselves from hackers? Let me rephrase this quote. Let me back up. What are some vulnerabilities? Just let's go through all the things that you personally could hack if you wanted to.
It's countless, but I could give you some major daily things.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the devices. Those devices you have right here. Let's talk about all the stuff you can hack into.
Sure.
And then we'll get into maybe how we can prevent that a little bit.
So I guess we'll just start with a daily routine. You wake up in the morning, you make your coffee, or maybe you take your phone off the charger, and you check your phone in the morning. You might check your email. You got to make sure every email that you have while you're half asleep is coming from a real person. It's not a phishing email, someone pretending to be a company that they're not, stealing your credentials. Then you go outside to your garage, you get in your car, and you have to make sure that there's nobody out there listening for your car key frequency while jamming your car, so that they could steal your car later or access your car later. And then when you go hit your garage door button, that somebody doesn't capture that frequency on 433 megahertz. Those rolling codes have already been broken for most of the models. So then you get in your car and you're driving to your office or to your kid's school, doing whatever you want. And you could get out, you let your kid out to school, and now somebody, as you walk into school, just skimmed your back pocket and stole your credit card information. So, all of that, plus, anything remote, infrared, like a TV remote that goes for projectors, audio devices, ceiling fans, very simple stuff, along with access control badges, anything sub-gigahertz, like key fobs or remote controls for anything, parking gates, so much.
Everything.
Everything, anything with a battery and a connection, a remote connection, in any type of way where it reaches the outside of that device is hackable or has been hacked.
What are these devices here?
This is a water bottle. So this right here is this is a Flipper Zero with some custom modifications, and it does a lot. So this is just a proof of concept device. But when you start to add your own little additions onto it, like this, let me enable, for example, Wi-Fi. I'm not gonna hack your Wi-Fi, but I'll give you a little example of what I could do. I'll just do something stupid, but. Okay, and then we'll do, I'm not gonna shut your network down. Okay, so now if I could show you on my phone, or you could look at your phone, but you'll see that instead of me mirroring your network, I just created a bunch of fake networks. So all of these networks here, they probably appear to be legitimate, right?
Yeah.
But they're not.
These are all fake networks?
They're all powered by me. So as soon as you connect to any of those, I have your password, I have anything in between. So that's one thing. That's just Wi-Fi.
And you just, oh man. So this is this how people are stealing information?
This is one of many ways.
In an airport.
In an airport? Oh yeah, I mean airport, Starbucks. When you, it's called a man-in-the-middle attack. So if I'm on the same network as you, I can essentially control the traffic, as if I was the modem or router. So instead of when you type google.com, instead of your computer telling the router you want google.com, you're telling my computer you want google.com, and I'm giving you what I'm telling you google.com is. So that would be called a DNS attack. So.
Is this what people are using in the airports when there's?
Not this specific device. This is just something that I concocted together. But the flipper you can buy. This thing on the top here is custom.
I guess what I'm asking is this the method they throw? So what is like Wi-Fi flight or GoGo?
GoGo in flight?
Yes, GoGo.
Oh, well, they're actually. I mean, you can hack anything, but GoGo in flight they have a pretty good segment on their network, so you're pretty safe with GoGo. There's a chance of getting hacked, but not the same as like a Starbucks or here. Like your network has to be segmented into chunks.
Okay.
And GoGo segments it pretty well.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is, could you create a fake Wi-Fi network with that thing that says GoGo in flight 1?
Yeah,
people are like,
that
that must be it.
I could do that here. I mean, I can make any. They're called SSIDs, the name of a network. You could do that with any name, but instead of that, what you do is you just scan the local area, and then I know all the networks names around here, and then I'll target all of them at the same time, so that way anyone in this complex or where we're at. Anyone that connects to a network is going to, think it's their network, and they're going to connect to me instead.
Holy shit.
That's just one of many Wi-Fi attacks, so there's many ways.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
What else can this thing do? This thing's like the size of the palm of your hand.
Yeah, well, with this little, custom extension, especially when I have these aren't the big antennas, but I got big antennas because, I want to get long range. But, that's Wi-Fi. This side of things is also Wi-Fi, but also it's an NRF 24, so it does wireless mice and keyboards. So if you use a wireless mouse and keyboard, not every single one of them is vulnerable, but a lot of them are. I'd highly recommend you go back to wired, even though it sounds old school. That's what you should do, because I could control your mouse and keyboard with this device and send keystrokes way faster than you can type them, and take over your computer without even having to see you or it. So I could do that through the wall.
This is scaring the shit out of me.
And then the sub-gigahertz stuff with bigger antennas, of course, I can go further away. So with the car keys, garages, gates, anything that's on radio frequency, I could do with this. RFID, that's access control badges for doors and pool keys. Anything that has like a little beeper where you beep into the door.
Yeah.
And NFC is credit cards and access control. And it does also some more things too. You could also I could tap your phone and give you my Instagram, or tap your phone and give you my business card. So NFC is a little more versatile than RFID, but they both essentially are, I believe it's called passive devices. They're powered by the receiver. They don't have a battery in them.
So let's just run through just a list of all the things you can hack with that one little device.
I mean, I don't want to make it into an ad about Flipper, because it's not Flipper itself. I'll tell you, but I'm just saying that Flipper itself, if you're going to go online and buy one of these and expect to be able to do everything that I'm talking about, you need to have custom firmware or software, whatever you want to call it, that allows you to do that, and you need to know how to modify it. So don't go out spending $180 on this device thinking you're going to hack somebody's car or steal their credit card, because that's not going to happen. But if you want to go down the list, I mean, there's a ton of things. There's all the radio things I just told you about, the RFID stuff, the NFC, which is the credit cards and more, infrared, which is TVs, projectors, and many other devices, GPIO, which is just anything that connects to the outside of this device, so I can make devices work and this be the controller for it. iButton, which is a form of authentication that uses these things, these little metal prongs as a key. Bad USB, which emulates a keyboard, types a couple thousand words a second.
Wow.
Or I'm sorry, a minute. I'm sorry, a couple thousand words a minute. And then it also has some use cases that aren't hacking, like two-factor authentication. This is a offline device where you can generate your two-factor without needing a device that's connected to the internet. So it does that too. And then there's a ton of other sub-applications that are on here, like hundreds of them that do little things. So a lot. Just with this one device. This thing, it does just radio, but it does a lot more than this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that one do?
This one you can hack airplanes with. I mean, that's an extreme, but that's something that you can actually accomplish with this using ADSB. You can choose to either receive or transmit. So you can choose to either receive or transmit ADSB with this device, and that's the frequency to tell a plane, its call sign, position, and more. And it's very illegal to do that, of course. But if I wanted to go outside right now, I could even demonstrate later for you. I pull this antenna out. This is just a small antenna. And we can receive airplanes, see where they're at. There's nothing illegal about receiving them. Transmitting is where it gets a little bit funky, But yeah, ADSB, this one does a lot. Something like a joke, for example, touch tunes at a bar. There's little jukebox machines that you pay for.
Yeah.
This device brute forces them, meaning goes through 000 to 9999 looking for a PIN code. And once it gets it, I can fully control that jukebox like I'm the owner of it. So, just for fun. Or Subaru cars, some years of Subaru, I have this pre-programmed that can unlock and lock a Subaru, no problem. I could do that with this as well. But this thing, way stronger, bigger range, way more support, way more programs out there. This device is a lot more dangerous in my eyes than that device.
Really?
Yep.
Man, you are this is the fifth time I've said it, I think. You are a dangerous man. But
well, I'm safe, I'm ethical.
You could be if you wanted to be.
I'm trying to go into detail about these things just for the nerds out there like me that are listening. I'm not going into exhaustive detail about these devices because most people are not going to care. So I'm just giving the general overview.
Oh, I think they're going to care when they realize how vulnerable they are.
No, I don't mean they don't care about what they can do, but care about the technical specifics.
Yeah. We get a lot of pretty much everything that we have is from China.
Okay.
All of our electronics, everything, it all, what do you say, 90% of it probably comes from China. Do you think we need to worry about what they're putting in our electronics?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you one example. I bought this awesome vacuum and mop that's in one. It's an all-in-one vacuum mop called Tinico. And it completely connects to a Chinese server to transmit and receive information. I made a joke out of it. I actually have a video of it where you could turn the audio on for it. When you plug it in, it says charging started, charging stopped. When you put it on and off, I can control that with my computer through a Chinese cloud server. There's no reason that vacuum and mop should connect to a Chinese cloud infrastructure whatsoever, but it does. And at any point, they could change the way that functionality works and take over my home network with this vacuum mop. So,
are you serious with a vacuum mop?
Yep. Yeah.
How many devices do you think have these things in them?
Anything with a Wi-Fi connection. It's not everything's going to be China beaconing back and forth, but anything with a Wi-Fi, anything with Wi-Fi capability is going to open up, an attack vector.
Washing machines, refrigerators, just
yeah.
Why does a vacuum mop
I don't know.
Wi-Fi capability?
I'd love to tell you, but it's I have the video I could show you. I could find it sometime, but it's I have that, and then I have the app I could show you. I could adjust the volume. I could check when the last time I used it. Does it need to be cleaned? Does it, it tells you all that stuff, but it's using a Chinese server that I can control from my computer now that I've captured the traffic between the mop and the server.
How many devices do you think we have that are connected to a Chinese server? And what would they be getting out of it?
I mean, it's all about data nowadays. So, I think that data is the most important thing to them because it's worth money, and advertising dollars would be spent better for with targeted demographics. So I think that they're using that information to target you on the stuff that you need. If you or someone that you love is looking up something, obviously Google's going to figure out how to target you on that thing and then sell that data to other people, and they call it retargeting. Whereas if they have access to your direct network and they could see things that you didn't even fully search out, or you're typing on a different application like a chat application where you're not even searching about it, you're just talking about it, that data is very valuable because they know about something before Google does or some other large data broker.
Interesting. What are 5 simple things that people can do to protect themselves from hackers?
Use a password manager, install an antivirus, or consult with an IT company that has cybersecurity expertise, or a cybersecurity company. One of those many options, but talk to somebody unless you're an expert yourself. Use an RFID blocking wallet, and potentially, if you want to be extra safe, use a key fob that has an RFID shield on it. That way your key fob doesn't work outside of that shield, can't be cloned. Some cars require, tap to start. So, use something like that. Be careful with the websites that you're visiting. If the browser's telling you the site looks unsafe, then it's probably unsafe. And if if you're told otherwise, make sure who's telling you otherwise is legitimate. And, just be careful. Just use your common sense. If something looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Okay, what about we live in a day and age where you're getting spam calls every 5 minutes, you're getting spam texts every 5 minutes, and a new marketing emails coming in every 2 minutes. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Do we need to worry about that stuff? If I open a text, could I be hacked just from opening the text?
Technically, yes. Like I said earlier, the zero-click attacks that they're willing to pay a ton of money for, there's government agencies that already have them, There was one going around for quite a long time. Called Pegasus. And then there was another one called Pegasus 2.0. And it didn't require any user interaction from anyone. You would just send to a phone number. They'd have full remote access to your phone.
Even without opening the text?
Without opening anything.
Holy shit. How do you defend against something like that? Yeah.
You can't. There's no way to defend yourself. That's why they're so valuable, because there's nothing you can do.
How do most hackers get in? Do you have to click a link?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a link, sometimes it's a file, sometimes it's a photo, sometimes it's a chain of exploits of multiple things that turn into it. It could be a Word document. It could be anything. When it comes to 0 days and 0-click exploits, it doesn't require any user interaction, and you will not know that your phone's infected.
Damn.
Yeah, so I can't even give you a good answer for it.
This is scary stuff, man.
I might as well have it on my phone right now. I have no clue. I'd likely see the traffic going in and out of it, but there is still the chance that it could have it.
All right. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into what you're doing now.